Hello everybody, this is Missy Bobo with Thumb Roast Coffee, Specialty Coffee Made Simple podcast. Thank you for joining me. Last week we discussed the differences between Arabica and Robusta plants, and this week we're going to focus on the difference of Arabica and the specialty grade Arabica, the higher step up, the best of the best. So a little bit of the history of Arabica. It actually comes from a Robusta plant. The Robusta plant kind of migrated from where it was found, folklore says in Yemen, by goat farmers, or a goat farmer, but it's migrated and it crossbred with another plant of the 120 species of coffee, and lo and behold we have the Arabica. Arabica is special because it naturally has more sugar, less caffeine, and it's a less bitter taste than its dad, Robusta. But what makes it specialty, that's what we're going to talk about today. So, Arabica coffee, in general, there's a little bit of an expense, but a price difference a lot of times when you see the difference on the shelf in the store or in your coffee house, because Arabica is a little bit harder to produce than commodity grade Robusta, and especially a specialty grade Arabica, because it's grown in highlands. It has less caffeine, which caffeine's a natural pest deterrent, so you actually have to tend to the plants more and make sure that it doesn't have as much disease. You have to prevent disease and really guard the plants against that kind of thing. So it's also harder to harvest, and you can't get combines up on top of a mountain, so that's one of the reasons why there's a little bit of that price disparage or price difference. But getting to the specialty grade, there's a couple different things that the coffee has to go through in order to qualify as a specialty grade, so we're going to talk about that. First is there is a grading process, and that's been set up by the Specialty Coffee Association, and it is a green coffee classification chart, and basically they look at it and they score it for defects, the visual defects that the coffee has. And that's a class, it goes from class 1 to class 5 depending on how many defects it is. Then after that, it goes through you roast it and then you cup it, which is a process by which roasters or coffee farmers will roast the coffee, grind it up, smell it, brew the coffee, smell it, taste it, and see what kind of nuances that coffee produces. So the cupping score is also something that's universally recognized, and that is usually it starts at 60, so 60 to 100. So the grading process is if the cupping score is 90 and above, it is an outstanding coffee, and that's like the highest of the highest grades that you can get right now. 85 to 90 score is excellent. The 80 to 85 is very good, and anything less than 80 is not specialty grade. So they look at the coffee for the defects that the coffee has, and then they taste it and see all the different nuances that it has, the depth of flavor, the body that it gives off, all those things, and then they create a score for it, and then that is how it is classified and sold to the roaster or to the final consumer. So the specialty grade makes up about 10% of Arabica coffee, so that's a very small niche market that a lot of us have decided to jump into, that specialty grade, offering something that's that best of the best, that highest 10% of coffee. That's what we specialize in. That's what Thumb Roast wants to really focus on and get the most out of, and educate our community about it. That 10% of coffee that we're looking for is going to be less bitter, less acidic, have more sugar, less caffeine, and that's in part by the type of plant that it is and the higher elevation. Then once we purchase that coffee that's specialty grade, then we roast it to get the most out of it that we can possibly get, those nuances that you love. And we don't roast to industry standard. There's a lot of roasters out there that only roast one bean one certain way, and we're not like that. We want to roast to what our customers prefer and what they like. So we are located in Croswell, Michigan, which is a more rural area of Michigan in the Thumb. If you're not familiar with the thumb of Michigan, if you hold your hand like this is the state of Michigan. The thumb is this region. So this is where we live. Not a lot of specialty coffee available in this market, so that was our goal, is to educate this area and provide a healthier product and educate our community without having to learn another language. So that's basically it. That higher 10% of the Arabica coffee that naturally has the less acid and more sugar, and then growing it at that higher elevation to develop less caffeine, less acid in it, and then really roasting it to get the best out of it. That's what thumb roast is about. So I hope this podcast was helpful for you. This video was helpful for you. If you know of anyone that, any person or a business that would like to offer specialty coffee to their customers, their consumers, we offer wholesale coffee in retail bags for you to resell. With our brand, or we can private label for companies. We also offer bulk coffee for you to serve directly to your customers, and then we also do coffee service. So if any of these interest you, please send us an email, let us know, give us some feedback, and on our YouTube channel, on our blog, and on our podcast. So if you're listening via podcast, please check out our YouTube channel and our blog on our website, thumbroastcoffee.com. And if you are watching this via YouTube, check out our podcast, uploading right now to iTunes and Spotify. So again, I hope that helps. Everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a great one.